Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast, your home for discussions and debates about all things animation. Each week, we'll rank, review, and revel in animated shows from yesterday and today, and from around the world. So grab your Acme slingshot, set your mobile suit to autopilot, and put on your mouse ears. The Animation Station Podcast begins now.
All right, well, welcome to episode 8 of the Animation Station Podcast. I'm Gavin.
I'm Josh.
And we are taking this special opportunity to talk about none other than Disney's Frozen, and we have a special guest on the show today to do just that. It is my wonderful wife, Charlie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being on the show. I can't wait to get started.
I feel like you should make sure that the title of this podcast is why Gavin doesn't like Frozen and why Charlie thinks he's wrong.
Okay. I mean, that's probably how this conversation is going to go. Yeah. And so if you haven't gathered, Charlie's on the side of Frozen as being great. I'm on the side of Frozen being a little overrated and not so great in some ways. I do think it's great in other ways.
And I'm on the side of I'm going to be sitting in the background and carefully interjecting.
Chiming in when necessary.
Yeah, because I care neither way.
Awesome. So, Charlie, you've done a little research, and you've looked into the origins of Frozen, and I think it'll give us a good groundwork for our little discussion here. So, you want to talk a little bit about what you've learned about the movie Frozen?
Well, I feel like research is a far grander term that needs to be applied. This is a discussion that me and Gavin have been having for quite some time now because
since 2013,
since the release of Frozen, I don't really think I had any intention of watching it. I didn't really care. I just kind of let the hype swim around me. You came home from the movie, sad sack about it, and I was like, wasn't it good? Everyone's saying it's good. Why didn't you like it? And you kind of articulated why. It didn't really matter. And then I saw those birds and the boater hats.
In Summer Song.
Yeah. And you said, oh, you would actually probably like that song. And, truth be told, I love Josh Gad. I think he's brilliant in Book of Mormon. He's got a beautiful vibrato, beautiful singing voice. And so I finally sat down and watched it. And I remember thinking that it was very fun, that it was very pretty, that the music was amazing. And then you have a friend named Jeff who is as much of a Disney aficionado as yourself.
Indeed.
And you both watched it and were spectacularly caustic about it.
We were underwhelmed, to say the least.
And a little angry about it. And I remember I was somebody, who's used to listening to you two Disney nerds talk about, the whimsy and the humor and the warmth of Disney movies, being really surprised at this caustic turn on this Disney movie that I thought fell well in line.
And I think a lot of my negative reaction to it was more a befuddlement in its popularity, in the hype behind it, because it was instantly a runaway smash hit and then went on to be the highest grossing animated film of all time.
And I don't like Tangled. So for me, the Tangled hype, I imagine, is much like Frozen hype is for you, where it just feels like everybody's talking about it and talking about how amazing it is.
Right.
And I was really bored by it, and I didn't care for the singing, and I barely remember the plot.
Well, the difference there is that Frozen has taken on an entire life of its own, where Tangled never did. It persists. It has created, it definitely does. It has created attractions at the Disney parks.
You've loved.
It has created stage shows at the Disney parks.
You've loved that part.
It has created meet and greets and, a short film already and a sequel already. And it persists in a way that Tangled never did. Tangled had its moment, and that moment has come and gone. And for those of us that loved Tangled, there is some sort of correlation between the two movies, and it makes us feel like Tangled got overshadowed by Frozen, and there may be some reasons that that's warranted, but we feel like Tangled is amazing, and, for those of you who listened to our Tangled episode, you know my reasons why.
I did not.
And, yeah, you skipped that one. Thanks.
I don't like Tangled.
Thanks, honey. But, there was befuddlement at its popularity, so... I just feel like it fell a little short for me. So, do you want to talk about?
Well, when I was looking into it, first of all, I did not know that it was inspired by a Hans Christian Andersen story, The Snow Queen.
Very loosely.
Which then, of course, down the Wikipedia rabbit hole I went.
Nice.
Reading the synopsis of that story, it was like, okay, so loosely,
yeah,
like barely even.
Right.
The similarities were snow.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Basically,
there was a queen,
snow and ice,
and there's
a queen.
Yes, nailed it. And I didn't realize that this has been something that was in Disney realm since the late 30s.
Yeah, it was an idea that Walt Disney himself had.
And obviously that's quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And then at various stages it would come back, and they would try to do something, and it would just all kind of fall apart based on not being able to make the Snow Queen a relatable character, a likable character. The characters, dissolved their chances of making this movie, which they viewed as having great cinematic potential.
Yeah, that's what I found the most interesting part about the history, is that they kept coming back to it over the years, going all the way back to 1937, and this one character is the reason they could not make it happen.
Exactly.
I find that really fascinating, but they could see all this potential in this ice and snow magic that was possible for them to animate, and, they saw that as, oh, that could be neat, but this darn character, we can't figure out how to do it. And that journey is fascinating to me.
There's how many movies would you think Disney movies are based on Hans Christian Andersen stories?
There's several. I get all the
I'm putting you on the spot
mixed up, but I feel like Little Mermaid,
Emperor's
Rapunzel,
New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove.
Very loosely, again.
That may be it. There's several, and then there's several Grimm's fairy tales,
yes.
And then there's other world fairy tales.
And there's good material there. I can understand why they want to make a story out of it, but I will admit, after hearing of all the struggles of people that joined on and then left, it is funny to me how hard they worked to make this happen and how much they wanted. I mean, I'm talking like 5 decades ago, I would have been like, you know what, guys? New plan. We're going to do a different movie. This is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they persevered.
Bin.
And I feel like...
well, wasn't it Lasseter himself that revitalized it when he found
saw
concept art
yeah.
from the 30s, and he said, wow, this stuff's amazing.
And I guess...
It was when he took over as the head of the Disney studio when they bought Pixar.
And I guess...
That's incredible.
Judging from how you speak about him, once Lasseter says, hey, this is going to happen...
Most powerful man in the world of animation.
Greatest man... ever?
No, but he's among the titans of animation all time. Absolutely. I love John Lasseter.
He is a name I should not know, but do know because of your love of him.
John, if you're listening to the show, we'd love to have you on the podcast anytime.
Hire Gavin.
And hire me, please.
Yeah.
I'll work as your secretary.
Yes.
We've got such a great plan going now.
We do.
So yes, all the hard work and we've talked before, hard work does not necessarily mean that whatever the finished production is, it's just going to get a pass. If I don't like the end production, then in fact, I'm even going to laugh at all the hard work you just put into it, because it's like, man, you have really done a lot less work.
Well, and that's true really more in animation more than almost any other type of movie making, it sounds like to me. And this movie in particular, if they had a scene, even if it was late in the game that they didn't think was working, they scrapped it and started over. And they were doing reanimation of scenes up to 5 months before the release date.
And it had a couple catalysts that finally were making it gel better. Mm-hmm. One being the writing of Let It Go.
Right.
Where they decided, okay, well, Elsa, because the Snow Queen was kind of a baddie.
Right.
So they wanted to make Elsa a more sympathetic, a more vulnerable character. She was a complex character, which I love how I'm using all these like buzzwords. I don't really feel like that. I mean, it was a very good movie. It was a very good animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't like some depth I wasn't expecting that I saw from the character of Elsa. I get how you can, as an adult, sit back and talk about it.
Right.
But, it's a means to an end, which was to create this movie. Like I felt like about all the characters.
Yeah.
Including Anna and her coming of age story, which was another thing that was, a catalyst of being made. Where it's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Anna save Elsa. And then let's write all the stuff around it that makes that happen.
Right.
And so for me, the biggest thing, and this is no surprise, the music.
Right.
Amazing music.
Indeed. I honestly think, and I've argued this many times, that the music might be the biggest reason for Frozen's success. I think the songs are incredibly well composed. They're incredibly infectious, memorable, and sing-alongable, to coin a term. And, it's been proven a million times in karaoke bars for the last 3 years. Let It Go
Journey.
is a smash hit.
Oh.
And, Journey too. And Love is an Open Door, and Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And there's YouTube videos of kids all over the world singing these songs. They're incredibly infectious, great songs. And it makes sense because they brought in a great songwriting duo with a proven track record of success. And they write great songs.
I like Wicked.
I like Wicked too.
I listen every now and then.
I don't love it, but I like it.
I like Wicked because of Defying Gravity. It was enough.
That's the biggest reason to like Wicked.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Popular's pretty good.
Oh my god, that movie's great.
Popular.
I'm not the world's biggest Kristen Chenoweth fan. Especially not when she's singing in her chest voice.
Decidedly true.
Beautiful soprano. So, operatic style, I'm all in. Broadway style, it's going to be a solid pass for me. Sorry, Chief.
Fine.
Oklahoma. She went to school here. Yay. So yeah, when her book came out, didn't they have a Barnes & Noble signing?
Not at my store they didn't, but I'm sure they did. Not when I worked there anyway.
No.
Anthony Rapp came to my store.
I am well aware of this. Yeah. I'm super sad that
dropping Broadway names. Anyway, the music, fantastic. Now, the music actually, like you said before, drove some of the story devices because it helped them understand the relationship between the two sisters, right?
And it's so weird that the whole struggle of Frozen was making the characters relatable. Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing. Because apparently
believable as real relationships.
I guess that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. I don't think everybody needs a character to be able to relate directly to them. They just need to be able to understand how the characters are relating to each other. And sometimes that's a struggle. That's one of the reasons I struggled with this movie, because I found it hard to believe that one sister absolutely shunned by another sister to the point of not even talking to her for what's probably 15 to 20 years, was immediately reaccepted and fought for. Yeah, and I get that blood is thicker than water, and there's the family ties thing and all that. I get it. I can't relate. I have a good relationship with my brother. I'm in contact with him regularly. If he shunned me for 15 to 20 years, I don't know that I would run to his rescue in a perilous situation if, I mean, maybe I would. I don't know.
I'm just laughing because we've discussed before that the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
What?
You don't remember me telling you about that? Yeah.
No, I don't.
That's the actual line, and it basically indicates that the friends you make yourself, the family you make yourself, is actually stronger than the family you're born into. So that everything you said, it's invalid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I retract everything I just said.
See, every time we've discussed it, though, it's the animation that really gets your goat.
Well, that's absolutely true. My second biggest sticking point is the character relationships and the plot, which I find disjointed. But my biggest problem with it is the animation and the art direction
you felt it was
of this movie.
Stiff. They were toy-like. Acceptable in Toy Story, not acceptable in Frozen.
all things I've said, yes. You did a lot of really great research on the background of this movie, and you uncovered a couple of really fascinating things.
Oh yeah, Michael.
For me. You determined
Giamo.
or you discovered that Michael Giamo, however you say the art director's name, had two major influences on his art direction of this movie, and they just so happen to be two things that I absolutely
Sound of Music
adore.
And Black Narcissus.
The guy that directed, or the art director on Sound of Music, and the cinematographer Jack Cardiff from Black Narcissus, which those are both two of my all-time most precious and dear movies that I will always love. And I love the art direction of both of those films and the cinematography and the lighting. And I think they're perfect examples of filmmaking. And bringing those types of effects and processes
into computer graphics,
into CG animation, something didn't work.
So when I was asking you,
failed to translate in the same way, and they ended up making the film look not right to me.
So what I'd asked you before is, if it were hand-drawn, do you think that would have helped some of the issues you had with it?
Well, if it was hand-drawn, they wouldn't have been able to light it the same way. Because lighting,
you didn't like the lighting.
Lighting in, well, that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't be able to use those influences in the same way. Because it's not about the colors of the characters or the environments. It's about the color of the light that they're projecting onto those elements. And that's what changes the atmosphere and changes the physical interaction of objects in that world.
Okay.
And so when a foot is on the ground or when a hand is placed against a wall, it creates a perception of either it's actually physically touching that wall, or this lighting scenario looks weird and it's just overlapping shapes.
Okay, so as an artist, are you now incapable of desperately trying to not say let it go? Are you not?
Say it. Just
no,
let it go,
I will not
baby.
do it.
Let it go.
Can you not just watch a movie through non-artistic eyes?
It's in some ways
Because I saw
can.
none of what you saw. They looked like they were in snow to me. Jewel tones, perfect. Little boater hats on birds, top notch. Everything's great. You're seeing.
I like the elements. I don't like the coming together of all of those elements. But what you're saying is something that I can do over time, and the more that I watch this movie, the more I'm able to enjoy it. I am to a point where I can now say I like Frozen. I do not love it, and it's because of these visual problems that I have with the movie that I don't love it. Because as a lover of animation and an artist and somebody who is interested in art history and studying and knowing that, I find that it was a step back in many ways in animation for Disney, because what they did prior to it and after to it is better.
Did other artists out there, or I don't even know if you'll know this, did other artists feel the same way as you? Were there people that talked about the animation being a step back? Because that's kind of a bold statement.
Unfortunately, I can't really give a full answer to that. Being sad artist in Oklahoma, I do not have a very broad community of artists around me that I know and converse with. Shut
Name
up.
of a band.
Sad artist. So I haven't spoken with a lot of artists specifically about it. I don't know what the general consensus is.
There you go. Get some artists that you guys have on Instagram.
I'm purely speaking from my own perspective. If there are any artists out there who are listening to the podcast and want to drop your comments at Animation Station Podcast on Instagram.
He doesn't even know the name of the podcast.
Let us know.
We can't trust his opinion of it.
What you think of the artwork in it. I'm
gonna go on Amanda's side here. I don't really care that much about the animation. I think the animation's fine. Like it
that's the key. It's fine. It's not great.
Well, I mean, it's
beautiful.
It's like Tangled, except 4 years later. So it looks better. Because I mean,
I disagree.
No, like I said earlier, 4 years of like digital animation is like the equivalent to 10 years of hand-drawn animation.
Right, but the increase in technological capability does not correlate directly to the artistry that is used when using that technology. So, like the effect of their hair looks more hair-like. but I'm not impressed.
But their
with
foot going into
the
snow,
movement
I wasn't buying it.
No.
Their faces and their bodies all the time. Like several times when Elsa's walking, it just looks clunky and weird.
Yeah, you didn't like her sachet.
Well, technically, she is walking in snow.
Yeah, but the cold never bothered her anyway. So
yeah, but
it doesn't
snow
matter.
is still a physical element
so
that you have to go through.
Well, no,
well,
I
when she was
that,
walking
on
ice,
when she's walking on solid ground.
Well,
it's
well,
just a
ice
weird
is
look.
slick.
Yeah, but she doesn't slide on the ice. She has total control.
She did once, and that's what.
When did she slide on the ice?
She slid on the ice, and that's what caused her to miss Anna's next jump. And then when she shot her head up, it was like Anna was plummeting to her death.
Yeah,
So
I guess she did.
She shot her with
there.
ice
Or
there.
did she trip over a snow mound? Something.
I didn't
think she slid on the ice.
Didn't rivet my attention that much, but
anyway,
the normal people. No, that's not good. Non-artists probably aren't going to notice these things. And you know what? I would almost wonder if when we rewatched it and you literally paused it and showed me, like, you see how his hand is leaning against this cliff covered with snow?
We've done this test before, not with Frozen, but you
Beauty and the Beast
won't necessarily see it the same way I see it, and it really is in an art perspective. I'm talking.
Can't be taught.
Distilling it down to Art 101 when you're drawing a still life of a cone and a sphere and a cube sitting on a flat surface and understanding how to draw that so that it looks like it's actually resting upon a table and not just hanging off the side of a piece of paper in space. And that's
how I draw.
There's shadow involved in it. Both the cast shadow and the shadow upon the element itself being the far side of the light source.
And they didn't nail this, and they nailed it in Tangled.
In many ways, absolutely.
How is that possible? How is this possible with that many people and that much advancement?
I think a lot of it is driven by the art director's attempt to bring in these saturated colors in the light, and it makes for this diffused atmosphere. And anytime you have diffused light, it throws off direct light and direct shadows, and it creates a weird environment where...
It is literally what you do with all the art you post.
Well, I'm not animating feature animations, so...
But it makes it a better environment.
To a higher
it makes it a better environment for
I'm
displaying
photographing a 2D drawing on a tiny little trading card. I'm not trying to create a 3D animated world in which there's supposed to be depth. That's a different thing. And to be fair, if the sky was overcast the entire time we watched this film,
it was.
When you have an overcast sky, it does have the effect of diffusing the light and creating the same thing that I do with my light box here when I'm photographing my art here at home. But that's not the case in this movie. It wasn't overcast the whole time, and if it was, we wouldn't see this movie the same way.
But the thing, but there was, most of the movie was Elsa, going kind of psycho and making eternal winter over this land.
Right.
Imagine it would be pretty overcast the entire time.
There was situations where I think it was called for, but then they bring in these extreme colors. All those colors you see glowing through the ice castle when the sun is setting or rising or whatever time of day it is. It was yellow light or red light or whatever. All that stuff. They're also washing the entire landscape in those colors when you're out in the woods, in the snow, and to me...
so it refracting off of the ice wouldn't have made that? I haven't done a really big study. Mm-hmm. I don't live in a particularly snowy place.
Right.
But they sent people to Norway. They sent people to Wyoming and Canada. Yeah. They sent people to these places to study this. Yes. So maybe they found out something that we don't know. Maybe that is how it works. That may be.
And, I grew up in the mountains amongst the snow, and the lighting can be weird at times. I just felt like the overall effect was a little too all-pervasive in this movie, and it created for a strange lighting scenario the whole way through, and it took away from the believability that these characters were actually existing in this world in a physical way.
Okay, Josh, you don't like Olaf. Explain yourself.
Okay, that's what I was gonna go in with Gavin, but here's my what you're saying about the lighting. I could care less. My whole thing.
Can you notice it?
My whole thing. No. I could care less because I do care a little bit. So technically, I could care less.
He was holding to it.
my problem with this movie is the characters. Like, Olaf, you want to know my problem with Olaf? My problem with Olaf is, and the reason I like Tangled better, Olaf is put in there for kids. That's the only reason. Hold on. He's put in there for kids to be like this comic relief, even though Anna and Kristoff and like they've already got some comedy elements to themselves. They're funny enough as it is, but you insert Olaf just to be comedic relief for kids, and so you can sell toys. In Tangled, you don't have that little bitty stupid comic relief random character that's going to spout and sing a song. I felt the horse
was that.
But the horse doesn't sing a song.
He doesn't have Josh Gad voicing him. When you have a voice like Josh Gad, you want to go ahead and give that man a song.
If Josh Gad voiced Maximus, would you be okay with that? And he sang a song?
Yes, I would like that.
So you would rather him see that's my problem with it.
Like, he was funny.
No, he wasn't.
He was such an innocuous character.
He was, Josh.
No,
I really feel like it's so cynical of you.
He has no funny lines.
Watch out for my butt.
Okay, so we put "Watch Out for My Butt" in there so we can have a butt reference to make little kids laugh.
Hilarious.
And me.
That's hilarious.
And most people watching the Disney movie, Josh.
And then later he says, "Oh, grab a butt."
Yeah, again, two butt things.
Okay,
yeah.
Sven kept trying to eat his nose,
That's
and he would say, "Oh, it's like a baby unicorn."
No,
and his giggle,
says,
which I can't.
Knock. Just knock.
Does she not know how to knock?
Why isn't she knocking? It's so
good. You don't need that.
You absolutely do.
I disagree, Josh.
Absolutely.
We're a solid front against you on this one, Josh.
That's fine. You guys can totally be solid.
Watch out for radiation differ.
So you don't need that. That's what I'm saying. He's in there, but if you were to take him out of the movie, would it be a detriment to the movie?
In every sense of the way.
No.
Yes. In Summer,
Absolutely.
I find it to be a magnificent song, and he sings it so perfectly.
Okay,
that man's vibrato,
What does
I would write a letter
to it. What does he bring to the movie?
The humor. See, you didn't
but
find
there's
him
already
funny.
humor. But there's already humor in the movie.
Right. Time out.
You
You're
can never have too much
only
humor.
looking at him as solely a comedic device. You have to remember, he is one of the things that bridges Anna and Elsa. He's one thing that they both remember. Oh my gosh, remember when we created this as little kids.
Except that one of them doesn't remember creating him until like 10 minutes left in the movie.
Till she sees
but
him.
she remembers. It's an important
or you mean
part
Elsa.
that they
Elsa.
have a connection between the two.
There was much longer in the movie.
It's an important device.
She saw him and she was like, "Oh crap, you're alive!" And it's like, "Yeah, you can do that now, woman. You need to calm down your guard out front," which is named Marshmallow. We watched it with subtitles. I was
That's
like,
a lame name.
Agreed. Okay, we all agree on that. Marshmallow, lame name.
Yeah, lame. And incongruous in its design. Yeah, I actually think the same of Olaf. I don't
He's
like the
Buzz
design.
Killington. He's a real life Buzz Killington.
Well, Marshmallow's fine because it's basically the same thing that Disney likes to do, and they like to recycle characters.
What's it recycled from?
Totally recycled from the the mix of the ice monster and the earth monster from Hercules.
The Titans?
The Titans.
It did look like that.
Yeah, and the same thing in Tangled when they totally recycle the dude from the Sword and the Stone as the Stabbington brothers. Disney likes
or
to
when
do
the
that.
Beast is on the cake at Ariel's wedding.
Yeah, they like to.
Where was that now?
Like
the Beast was a figure on a cake. Which movie was it?
No, the Beast was a figure in the stack of toys that the Sultan was stacking up in Aladdin.
I thought it was like, wait, Little Mermaid came before, right?
Yeah, Little Mermaid was before both of those movies.
This isn't canon.
So, okay. Enough about Olaf, Josh.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Except he's great.
So he is great. And so let's talk about
can we talk about a real character? Can we talk about Hans?
Okay.
Who's the best character in the whole movie?
Let's talk about Hans.
A sociopath.
He is sociopathic.
Yes.
He mimics those around him to get what he wants.
Absolutely.
And portrays feeling and emotion that he doesn't himself feel to manipulate the scene around him.
Think about
He's
how
truly
actually
evil.
terrifying that situation is, where Anna's about to die, and she's convinced, a kiss from a true love is what's going to thaw my heart, and he leans forward to kiss her, and then goes, "If only someone loved you."
Yeah,
that's perfect.
My goodness, that's really it's always. When the evil character is easily identifiable as evil, yeah, easy peasy baddie. But I remember when you were like, one of the most evil characters was Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter. And I didn't really think about her much because she was, she liked cats and had a pink, outfit. She looked like a librarian. But when you think about it, like, her scarring children's hands, and she was evil.
Yeah. But you knew she was evil from, like, the first detention.
Well,
and that's
you
why
knew she was strict and she was against the students who were of a certain ilk, but you didn't know her true evilness until
except for physical mutilation. I mean, that's pretty evil on kids. Especially, doesn't she do it to that poor first year, too? He's a first year. Just came over on the boat.
I don't remember the details of that.
But no, as far as the characters go, Anna, classic coming of age story.
She's the character for me, though.
It's not
I think she's the one that brings the real entertainment of the movie.
I think you're supposed to relate most to Anna.
I find her the most relatable. Yeah, I feel like.
What does that mean to you? To be able to relate to a character. How do you guys relate to this 16-year-old girl?
Well, no, I mean, I think she's supposed to be the relatable one.
I have freckles, and I like dresses.
I don't have freckles. No. Wish I did.
I mean, by that I mean she's the character that is the most real to me and has either her or Kristoff. Like,
even though her reactions confuse you.
Yeah, no, she makes stupid decisions, and she makes
like a teenage girl.
I'm a person who doesn't make rash decisions where people in relationships are concerned, so I can't relate to that. But I can relate to a lot of her longings and a lot of her humor. I think she's hilarious, and she just seems like a fun person, like somebody I would know and somebody I might be a friend with. Not that, she's like me. She's nothing like me at all. I just feel like she's a person that I could relate to, and
because she does seem like a real person. I find it's the definition of relate and again,
I think you're reading way too much into that.
No, you have been accusing me of splitting hairs on the definition of words lately, but it really is. It's important to me to understand what people mean when they're like, we need relatable characters, because admit it, we live in kind of a narcissistic time. So the idea that people would only go to movies where they see a little bit of themselves in it,
I don't see myself in any of these characters.
So let's come up with a different word. Let's come up with a better word than relatable.
Do it.
Realistic works. I mean, we don't have to. It's not rocket science.
There you go. Realistic. Okay, I think she's realistic.
Believable.
I think she's a realistic, empty-headed 16-year-old girl who's also hilarious.
And you like that about her?
In a movie, yeah.
I find it
I don't
grating.
necessarily hang out with her every day.
Who doesn't go to a movie to escape from that reality?
So she's entertaining. She's funny.
Yeah, she is kind of cute. But I think that's mostly because Kristen Bell did kind of like a perfect job.
So much to that role.
I didn't know she could sing like that. She had a beautiful voice.
I agree.
She sounded magnificent.
Absolutely.
She stood toe to toe with Idina Menzel. That's an impressive feat.
So let's talk about Elsa. What do you think about the character of Elsa?
Again, that was so this was them wanting to make a vulnerable, complex character that people would find relatable. And I prefer her over Anna, but that could just because she has a better belt. By this much.
It all goes back to the vocals.
It goes back to that high note. It always does. I remember when you were talking to me about, like, she's trying to protect her sister, but then she creates this monster to stand at her doorstep that almost kills her and Kristoff. Mm-hmm. Which then today, though, I was like, yeah, but her creations do seem to take on, like, a life of their own. At that point, if his prime director's like, okay, just protect her in the castle, then maybe it was just kind of his own, dealings where he's like, well, I'm gonna kill
that's still kind of on her, because if she doesn't give him the
everything's on her.
Oh yeah, but don't throw them off a cliff. Then...
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because she brought Eternal Winter to this town and then was like, deuces. And then she still, even when Anna was like, hey, guess what you're doing? She was still like, no, you just need to leave me alone. And it's like, well, okay, but you need to be held accountable.
Well, to be fair, she had no idea how to stop it. All she knew of her power at that point was that it could freeze things. She never had any thought that it could unfreeze anything.
But it didn't even seem like she was willing to try.
Oh, I agree, which is one of the detractors for this movie for me.
Oh, see, you walked me right into that.
I did. Right through the door.
Ultimately, though, her vocals bring it all back. Make everything worth it.
Killed it. I think her and Kristen both killed it in that movie. And that's the one thing that I came home from the movie theater with that first day that I saw it, I said the music in this movie is great. They killed it.
Yeah.
But even then, a couple of those songs and a couple of the lyrics, it still took me a while to grow into. For example, "Love is an Open Door." Some of those,
I adored that song.
Some of those lyrics, I agree, it definitely is. But some of those lyrics were just a little too contemporary or modern sounding. That didn't seem to fit in with this tale of fantasy Norway from a bygone era, and I don't know. It just seemed a little silly, but
maybe that is present day
Norway.
Norway.
On me because
do you know what Norway looks right now?
I don't actually.
Ships
it could be
and
just
petticoats
that.
And talking snowmen.
Brown clothing and snow.
Sounds
But as I said earlier,
you're a Norwegian expert.
Everything about this movie has grown on me a little bit because I accept that it's a kind of a zany plot with some zany elements to it, and it's a bit of a romp, and so these songs don't have to be the life-changing epic songs that I necessarily thought they might be originally, I guess.
But they are.
So the fact that they're a little goofy in some of the lyrics kind of works because it's it's a goofy character and it's a sociopath.
The harmony in "Love is an Open Door" and some of the high notes in "Let It Go," like those are the things that vocally impress me, musically impress me.
Yeah.
Very memorable melodies too.
Absolutely.
You definitely walk away from the movie remembering most of the songs.
Absolutely.
But yeah, as far as the character goes, I mean, how sad is it? Yeah, Olaf is definitely my favorite character. I'm also. Josh, you're an only child as well.
Yes.
Do you think that puts any element in it for us?
For Elsa?
No, for us and how we view the movie.
More than likely, just because I never thought that Elsa was likable. Like she didn't.
What about when she sang?
I'm not talking about the singing. I'm talking about as a character herself. She's not likable to me because she's mean to her sister. Her sister's been trying to be nothing but nice to her. And her sister doesn't even know why. Like, she knows why, like, Elsa knows why she's, in this situation.
Ooh.
But Elsa doesn't. Anna doesn't.
We might be part of the problem here. We might be reflecting right now why it took Disney so long. It's like, we're really trying to make this more complicated than it is.
Well, that's true, and I think that goes back to...
It's just... the way that we are really tearing these characters apart and their motivations and what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Well, that may be, and it goes back to the simple fact that they're sisters. And one of the things that we uncovered in our research is that in the creation of this movie, once they decided to make Anna Elsa's sister, they had what they called a sister summit.
That's adorable. Where
they invited the research,
sisters from the studio.
All the ladies in the studio who were sisters came together and they talked about what that relationship is, what it means, what it looks like, and they created their relationship based on that summit. And I can't relate to having a sister or being a sister, obviously, but apparently they hit the mark because
Garrett used to play with makeup.
Garrett did play with makeup, but
shout out Garrett.
I think we can all agree he's very much a bra.
Man. He's man.
Yeah, and so whatever they did it right, because I hear over and over again from women and girls who are sisters that's what's important about this movie for them, is that they're sisters. In fact, at the expo, the D23 expo last year, I went to a panel with two of the concept artists who were both females who worked on this movie, and they talked at length about how this movie was the most important thing they ever worked on because it gave them a chance to express that relationship with their sister. So I think that whatever they did it right.
Well, and it's interesting to me, Josh, that Elsa's amazing singing is not enough to make you not hate her character.
No, again, she's not likable. She can sing the best music in the world, but if you're not a likable person, if your personality is not likable, then you can sit in that. She honestly, if she would have sat in her room the whole entire time, probably would have been better. Probably would have liked her better.
That's where I differ from you, because if someone came up and like punched me in the face, but then like belted a high C, be all forgiven. So I'm all about that high note lie. So Elsa, she's
all about that treble.
Female.
Jesus, that's awful. All right, okay, so last little bit here. Amanda, you're gonna talk, or Charlie, or Javier, or whatever your name is.
Keep it on.
You're going to neither of us are going to talk. You're going to give us a quick brief, like why you think everyone should watch Frozen.
This is really putting me on the spot.
I know it is.
And
that's the point.
Everybody has probably already watched Frozen, but I thought this was an important discussion because
I didn't watch it until a couple months ago.
Both of you.
You said you weren't going to talk.
I know I did. I messed it up.
I was baiting. So
yeah, I was baited.
Okay. Frozen, I do think is one of Disney's greatest movies. I think it has possibly the best soundtrack. I think the music is phenomenal. I think the singing is phenomenal. I think they really cared about how not only the singers individually performed, but how they performed together. They got a few Broadway greats, which really worked to their favor. I found that in looking in the history of Frozen and how it came to be, I was really fascinated with the longevity of this idea. The fact that in the late 30s, it was like, hey, we want to do this. And now in, 2011? 13, we had this movie. And there were a lot of people working on it. There were a lot of people doing research. And there were a lot of people doing the animation. There were a lot of people doing the songs. And then they all kind of came together and formed this movie. So, yes, there are flaws. There are cracks in it. But ultimately, is it funny? Is it warm? Is there a sweet message? Are the characters nice to look at? Yes, there wasn't obviously anything ugly about it. The music's amazing. That movie, Frozen's fantastic. And if you don't like it, then you're a cynical curmudgeon or an artist.
All right, Gavin.
Well, my final thoughts are...
Maybe no attacking at the end.
I do feel like it is still a bit overrated. I do like this movie. The more I watch it, the more I'm able to enjoy it. I feel like, for no lack of effort, some of the visualization of it, some of the movement, and some of the coloring and lighting falls a little short for me and falls below the bar that they had previously set and which they subsequently hit and progressed from. And the music, though, is great. The music is fantastic. To me, it's the best element of the movie. And there are many things I do like about this movie. I just feel that at this point, they've set a bar for themselves that is so high. And I feel like in many ways, it did not hit that mark. And I want them to be better in Frozen 2.
I want to go frame by frame by frame.
Let's do it.
Because I want you to be like, oh, wait, that's Smudge. I thought that, but it's, you know what? I was wrong. Frozen's amazing. It's so much better than Tangled.
You guys should look at all 2,000 individual snowflakes that were created.
Yes. We'll do
they
that.
created stuff to make this movie, computer programs, generators.
Does. They're amazing that way, and I can totally appreciate and respect that. I just don't think that had an impact on this movie.
I know, but I think I know, but I think that's what makes it plausible that you're wrong.
Okay.
See, you're saying that these computer programs, they use physics and mathematics to make these programs, and you're saying, guys, you missed the mark. I'm saying, what if it's you, Gavin?
It might be me.
I know.
It might be me. I'm willing to admit that.
Oh, we really need to speak to John Lasseter.
All right. Ding, ding, end of round 1. We may have a round 2. We don't know. It depends on if I can get up from the mat.
20 years later.
Oh, jeez. Okay, that was awesome. It was great listening to you guys talk for 6.5 hours about Frozen. It was wonderful.
Just felt like it.
It felt like
8 hours.
My knee fell asleep, which doesn't usually happen, but it did. But we are going to go into our top 5 next.
Woohoo!
Will you be joining us in our top 5?
Yeah, why not?
We'd love to hear some interjections.
It will be really fast because my top 5 princesses are all Elsa.
Oh, and she spilled the beans. We're doing top 5 princesses.
No, I didn't spill the beans. I announced it for you.
And she's only a princess for like the first, 15 minutes?
And then she's a queen.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, Jeffrey, do the thingamajig.
And now, for another Top 5.
Okay, top 5 princesses. Not Disney princesses, every princess.
Any kind of princess.
Anime princess, any type of princess. Gavin.
Yeah.
You get to start her off.
Ooh.
What's your number 5?
All right, my number 5. I'm going all the way back to the original because I think it's important that this princess set the precedent, the princess precedent. So I'm picking Snow White.
Okay.
Boring.
Oh, come on, guys.
It's boring, yeah.
No, it's not. The other side of the table right now, everybody, is just sending me eye rolls and smirks.
Was that computer graphics or hand drawing?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell. Yeah.
My original vision was for...
You know what, guys?
There's a reason she was asleep.
No respect. She wasn't asleep.
That was
she
the
was
other one.
poisoned.
She was in a coffin at some point.
Yeah, she was dead.
See, I vaguely remember
Was
that
she
movie.
the one that ate an apple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Covered in caramel. And then
Oh my
talk to me.
gosh.
Shout out to
Wow.
Batman.
The original Snow White, number 5. Go, Josh.
Okay, my number 5. I'm gonna be with you. I'm gonna stay with Disney. I'm gonna go with Rapunzel from Tangled.
Good
Go
pick.
ahead, get it
Good
over
pick.
with.
Her hair was not as good as Elsa's.
Well, yeah. Again,
I agree.
4 years later. 4 years later.
Hair technology. Although I still think Merida has the best hair and Sully has the best
everywhere.
fur.
It's beautiful.
It's
though.
fantastic.
No, you know who has the best hair? Hero has the best hair.
He's got really good hair.
Have you seen Hero's
He's
hair
got really
is
good hair.
fantastic.
I agree. I'm still in Camp Merida though.
I'm going with Hero. You're right.
Hero.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Number 4.
Wait, Olaf had those twigs.
Shut up. Number
Oh my gosh.
4.
Number 4 for me. We're gonna get a little redundant here. My number 4 is none other than Rapunzel.
Oh, you guys really
I don't
this
like
out
that
well.
one.
What?
Pick it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you do. You know you love it. I think her character is great. I think it's just a fun character, and I love watching her journey, and her relationship with Pascal is hilarious, and the journey that she takes with Flynn, really funny. I like her. I know that some people in the room here don't care for Mandy Moore or her vocals, but I thought she did a fine job. It's not the greatest.
I saw her live in concert when she opened for the Backstreet Boys.
Really?
Yes, with her hit song Candy. Anybody?
Ooh, yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, it was a piece of crap.
No.
I mean, it was
great.
a nice little piece of pop.
Song, excuse me.
It was a nice little piece of pop. All right, Josh, what do you got?
My number 4, we're going to shy away from Disney.
Okay.
In fact, nobody else is from Disney.
On the rest of your list?
Yeah.
That's because you're off center, Josh Kane.
No, I'm actually quite good, and I think you may like this one.
Ooh.
My number 4 is one Princess Coriander, a.k.a. Starfire, the Princess of Tamaran from Teen Titans.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't recognize that until you actually said Teen Titans at the end.
Starfire.
It's been so long since I watched Teen Titans. But yes,
perfect.
I agree. It's a really good pick.
Not so much in Teen Titans Go, because that show's kind of crap.
Yeah.
But the old Teen Titans, fantastic. She was great.
Agreed.
Her just out there not really knowing anything about Earth culture is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, she drinks mustard. It's great. Because she's like, oh, it's a delicacy. Ah.
Excellent. That's a good pick. I like that choice. So my number 3 is back with Disney, and I'm going with one of my top 5 Disney films. I'm going with from Robin Hood, Maid Marian.
I thought Pinocchio was a princess.
Who is one of the most adorable princesses. I love the love story between her and Robin Hood because they're so clearly enamored with each other. And even when they can't openly say it, their eyes sparkle when they see each other. And I just think she's so cute. And he's so adorable.
And that's how you smolder.
Oh, yeah.
That Robin Hood?
I agree. He's got the best smolder.
Definitely.
Flynn's a good-looking guy, but Robin Hood knows he's the charmer. He's the real charmer.
Yeah. And I was about to be like, and he's trustworthy, but he did rob.
Yeah,
but he robbed from crooks, though.
Yeah, but Flynn was smarmy.
I guess technically so
they were
was
both.
Aladdin.
They were both
he was
thieves.
A thief too.
Yeah.
We love them Disney thieves.
A lot of Disney main characters are thieves. Flynn was a thief.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 3, I'm gonna go to the world of anime.
What?
We're gonna go Usagi Tsukimo, a.k.a. the one named Sailor Moon.
Ooh.
She is the Princess of the Moon.
Like an actual blonde chick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Blonde
you've
chick.
been watching a lot of Sailor Moon.
I have been watching a lot
lately.
of
So,
your rash decision.
do you feel like?
I was trying to. I didn't want to. Here's the thing. I didn't want to do any Disney princesses because I'm like, what's Gavin gonna do? All Disney.
Well, he was going. What's Josh gonna do? No Disney.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, see, and I told him this earlier. I said, I'm only ever going to rank my top 5, regardless of what I think you're going to do, because I'm a purist in ranking. And I told him, if Rapunzel's in your top 5, put it in your top 5. Don't worry about what's on my list.
And
because that's more interesting to me. What is actually your top 5? Because sometimes we overlap, sometimes we don't, and that's interesting.
Well, see, and that was another thing.
Interesting.
I had
this discussion.
I had to think of, okay, what are my favorite Disney princesses?
Mm-hmm.
None of them. I didn't care about any of them.
Mulan.
Wow.
She's not a princess.
I feel like it's so unfair to say something like that.
She's not a princess, though.
You know what? Let's say that Disney princess is a title that's not defined by
Yeah,
princess.
that's the thing. There is a line called Disney Princess, and they make some stretches, like Pocahontas is in there.
Yeah,
so.
But totally Disney. She's a Disney princess. I'm not saying she's a princess. She's a Disney princess, which is
different. But we're talking about princesses.
Yeah, we're talking about princesses.
And she doesn't have a kingdom.
Doesn't the guy that she ends up with, isn't he a prince?
No, he's just a general. Or he's a captain at the beginning. I think he just becomes a general. Technically, I haven't seen Mulan 2.
Well, they have to have the title of princess.
Well, I know, but Disney princess, like I said, it can be something completely different. Because they do include Mulan and Pocahontas, who are not princesses.
Right.
So Eric is a prince? Oh, yeah, he's
Eric's
Prince Eric.
definitely a prince. His name is Prince Eric.
Man, you really aimed low there.
Under the water low.
Oh my gosh, that's
but technically Ariel was a princess because Trident was her dad, so she was already a princess.
Right.
She didn't marry into. So?
No.
Well, that's like saying Snow White was a princess of the land.
I'm just saying underwater, things are different
you mean
down
under
there.
the sea?
Oh.
Okay, I'm done. What's your number 2, Gavin?
Well, wait. I want to ask you a question. Do you feel like this pick of Sailor Moon is because you're just really hyped up on Sailor Moon right now, or do you think it's legitimately your 3rd favorite princess of all time?
Well, I also couldn't think of a lot of princesses.
Okay.
I was trying to think of.
So you had a desperate moment where you're trying to throw things in.
What's a princess?
Okay.
There were some people from Adventure Time that I could have put on there.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, you're kind of a crap princess. I mean, you're a princess in name.
So really, again, I think this speaks to the genres that you tend to watch as opposed to what I watch. There's not as many princesses.
Correct.
Okay, so you said they're a princess in name, so that implies that there could be a princess in spirit, like Mulan.
But again, not a real princess.
In spirit.
Okay. Then
just say yes, Josh.
Anybody's a princess. Anybody.
Did you hear that, kids?
You're all princes and princesses.
All of you can be a
you
princess.
can all be
that's
princesses.
Like saying if somebody calls somebody princess, even if it's an anime or hey princess, anything like that.
That has to be their title, their actual
that's
title.
What I'm saying, but their titles aren't princesses.
Okay, then if somebody's just offhandedly calling somebody princess, that doesn't count. No.
Again, Disney princess. Different.
Then you shouldn't even mention it.
Go on. I'm sorry. I was just trying to.
I'm gonna edit you out of everything.
Okay. What are we on? Number 2?
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 is from Pixar, and I'm going with Merida from the movie Brave.
So Disney again.
Pixar, but yes.
So Disney again.
Disney Pixar, yes. I still think I still think that Brave is probably their best animation, and I think Merida is one of the most beautifully realized characters they've ever created. And that hair, though, it's so amazing. I've always loved arrow shooters. And
I saw it once. I thought it was garbage.
I have not seen it myself.
Oh my gosh, you guys are terrible. Why did you think it was garbage? Because I worked at the theater and the kids threw things on the floor.
No, this came out after I was at the theater. Thank you.
Okay.
I stopped working at the theater.
There's a large swath of movies that you hate just because they came out when you worked at the theater.
I didn't like that. I hated this movie because it was boring.
It's not boring at all. It's so breathtakingly beautiful.
People try to explain to me the Bear Mom thing, and I get really.
I
get bored.
I can explain it to you in a minute, and you'll be bored.
That's a great idea. 60-second Disney movies.
I think that's fantastic.
I feel like Josh
surely it's been done already.
Okay, here we go.
But not by Josh.
Let's wait, and Okay, here's what happens in Brave. There's this little redheaded girl, and she doesn't want to marry anybody, but her parents want to set up an arranged marriage for her, but she doesn't want to do that. So she kind of makes a wish to where her mom or dad, or I don't really care because it's a boring part of the thing, turns into a bear. And so she has to go get her mom, and then for whatever reason, her brothers also turn into bears because I think they ate a cupcake or something. Yeah, so... her mom, so she has to try and get her mom back, and so it's some weird story about how a mom and a daughter like love each other, which usually happens because mom and daughters tend to love each other. But let's make a movie about it. And then at the end, the mom sacrifices herself to save the daughter from another bear. Go figure. But but mom doesn't actually die, and I know, it's crazy. The mom doesn't die in a Disney movie. It's Pixar technically, and they all live happily ever after. Minute. How was that? Was that pretty close?
It was a horrible synopsis.
I'm sorry. It may have been like a tart, some sort of Danish maybe.
It was a pastry of some sort. Yes. She brought the spell back in the form of it was baked into some sort of sweet good.
Can you understand how someone hasn't seen this movie?
Yeah, no, that was a ridiculous synopsis of the movie.
But hold on, was I correct?
You were about 75% correct.
I was about 75% correct.
Yeah. C's get degrees.
Yeah. I just want everybody to notice that I give Josh a lot more respect for his picks than he gives me. And it's not because I know about his picks or I like his picks, but I just try and be supportive and a good friend, and that's all. That's all.
The eye roll that you gave about the cupcake part, I'm gonna take that with me tomorrow to get me through the day because it was intense. Because it said, but yeah, kind of.
Yes. Okay.
And to be fair, the dad did lose a leg.
And so.
How? Oh wait, the cupcake.
And both bears,
here's the
both bears were cursed humans. Both bears were cursed humans, so it wasn't just a bear.
But was it a bear? Because
you don't care.
But
you don't care. I'm not going to explain it.
Hold on, no. He was a bear because he lost his humanity. Because if you don't, eat the thingamajig, like the potion,
the tart,
if you don't eat the get better tart within X amount of time, you turn and you lose your humanity and you turn into the animal. So technically, it was a bear. So suck it.
I want to see this movie now.
No, you don't. I'm telling you don't want to see the movie. It's so boring.
You guys are ridiculous.
Now. But I do.
Anyway,
it is amazing.
My number two.
Boo.
We're talking about straight princesses, like from our last one.
You drew pretty far back for this.
We're gonna go San, who's Princess Mononoke.
Nice.
I picture him looking around the room and just being like,
kind of
Princess Mononoke.
Well, no, she's
pseudo princess.
She's a great she's a great princess. She's a princess of the forest.
Of some sort of.
It makes no sense from what I just argued on my last pick, but Princess Mononoke.
Did they actually refer to her as Princess Mononoke in the movie?
Obashi.
Because it's weird. Is Mononoke her last name?
Well, she's just the princess.
What's Mononoke? Because her name is San. I don't remember where's Mononoke. What's Mononoke?
Mononoke.
What is that word?
Mononoke means spirit in Japanese. It totally doesn't mean
that.
Yeah.
We're flinging this out.
San? S-A-N?
S-A-N.
Are we sure that's not like Son Goku?
No, it's like San.
Okay,
and that's
I'm battling with two uber nerds right now. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is Chi-Chi a princess?
King, what's her dad's name?
The Ox King, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay. Gavin.
Yeah.
You have honorable mentions.
I do. Belle.
I'm with nerds.
Chi-Chi.
Aurora. Nala.
So all
who's Aurora?
Ariel.
Like all of them.
Tiana.
Just say all of them.
Anna.
Can you shut up his mic?
Those are my
honorable mentions. Is that it? Are you done?
That's it, yes.
Okay. My honorable mentions from about 30 seconds ago. Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball Z. We'll put her in there. And actually more Dragon Ball. Really?
Yeah, we can't.
More Dragon Ball.
I don't have my phone, or I'd verify that she was a princess.
Well, because he's the Ox King.
What does that mean?
Is she married to him?
Oh, there was a blue ox.
Then she would be a queen.
Well, no, she's not married to the Ox
King.
Is
she the daughter?
Weirdo.
Okay, well, I'm asking what the relationship is.
She was married to
she marries Goku.
This isn't fun anymore.
So, after Chi-Chi, we're going to go the only other thing from Disney was Star Butterfly. from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. And then decided to throw some pony love in, and the 3 pony princesses from My Little Pony.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey.
Princess Tiana.
Baller.
Best.
She's awesome.
Which one's that?
Worked.
Princess and the Frog.
She worked.
Was she an actual princess?
Once she married Prince Naveen, yes.
Okay.
Prince Lazyface, but it didn't matter.
Prince party all the time, party all the time.
So that's how Aladdin became a prince?
She was amazing
yes.
at everything, and she worked, and she had nothing except her spirit and her humor and her kindness
and that amphibian skin.
I'm telling you what, man, that movie really shocked me. Best Disney soundtrack.
You said that earlier about Frozen.
I know, and I mean both of it.
Tie? It's a tie?
It can't be best.
It's a tie.
Amazing, isn't it?
Okay.
Tie for first.
But yeah, it doesn't get enough love. Like
I agree with that.
Again, it always takes one thing. So like, it was the birds and boater hats that made me watch Frozen. And it was when you told me...
that big tubby crocodile.
Yeah, you told me Louis...
Or alligator.
And then you were like, yeah, he wants to be in a band, so he like jumps up and joins the band playing the trumpet, but they're all like, ooh, because he's a crocodile. That's literally how you said it. And I was like, okay, I'm game. I want to watch this. And that soundtrack, man. That's good. Nolan's flavor right there. It's beautiful. Yeah. I loved it. And her voice is very pretty.
Absolutely. She's a Disney legend. Literally. She is named a Disney legend.
So she can be literally.
Yeah. She's like literally a legend?
Yeah. No, that's a title that people that work for Disney achieve, and she achieved it.
Hashtag goals.
They put
Absolutely.
They make anime legends too. Like someone's like if it's like an anime legend, yeah, they do that too. Gavin, what's your number 1?
I'm afraid to say it.
You should be.
Because hold on. I have been lambasted this entire time.
No. It's Princess Jasmine.
Oh,
yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah, it's my number 1.
This wasn't top hottest Disney princesses. It was
Why can't that be a factor? Because she clearly is the hottest princess.
She lived within the confines of the castle, having everything handed to her, still complained. She had a pet tiger, Gavin.
I know. Hashtag goals.
Princess Tiana, she had nothing. And she became everything.
Yeah.
That's a good princess.
Much respect to Tiana.
Jasmine lame.
But I like Jasmine.
She's like, I like carpet ride. Prince.
Look.
She's like a Big Brother contestant.
I'm not going to get any respect from you. So I'm just...
she's like a great Bachelorette contestant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I don't think you are.
No.
I've been absolutely crushed during this top 5. And I may be retiring after this podcast. Thank you both.
My number 1, let's go ahead and put Gavin out of his misery. My number 1 is going to be from Adventure Time, Marceline the Vampire Queen.
Never heard of her.
That's fine.
I've only heard of one of your princesses.
Was it Sailor Moon?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that was the name of a princess. I thought that was just the name of the show.
Was it Starfire?
No, it was...
Was it Princess Mononoke? Because I'm pretty sure you've heard of all of those.
Oh, yeah, I've only heard of... No, yeah, you're right. I've heard of 3 of them.
I was about to say, you should have heard of all of those.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell me more about this cupcake?
Anyways.
Don't eat it. It'll turn you into a bear.
You don't want to be turned... But yeah, see, she's Marceline the Vampire Queen, and I was hoping you were going to, go after me. Like, she's a queen.
Interestingly enough, Walt Disney was born in the town of Marceline in Missouri.
Anyway, so Marceline the Vampire Queen...
Actually, I'm going to give that to him. I do find that fascinating.
Yeah,
okay. So Marceline the Vampire Queen, her dad is actually king of the underworld, so technically she is the princess of the underworld. So even though she is the Vampire Queen, she's technically the princess of the underworld. So
it's a stretch.
In what way is that a stretch?
She's already been given the title of queen.
Of vampires, of which there are 1 in the show.
She's got a very small kingdom, but nonetheless, she's a queen.
Mulan's the best. Best.
Give us a 5.
Ever.
Give us your 5.
Go.
Give us your 5.
Okay. Princess Tiana.
As 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going backwards. Number 2.
Elsa.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go with, actually this is really difficult. Because I am thinking of Disney princesses.
What about Belle?
I like Belle. She's a reader. She's tough. She's got a good relationship with her dad.
And you believe gravitation?
No. There are a lot of princesses in that. So yeah, Belle. So what is that, 3?
Do you want to look at my list for some good references?
Yeah, that might... Well, I mean, at least references.
Yeah, they're good references.
I'm looking at the list right now, folks, and I got nothing.
I'm taking the list back now.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Because, I mean, when I think about Ariel, when I think about Jasmine...
Ariel's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean...
What about Princess Nala? She's good.
Oh, Lion King.
That is correct.
Yeah, she's kind of sassafras.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's got something. She's survived. She's been through stuff. She
technically
knows.
not
one half of the only Disney lick.
Technically not a princess.
What?
Technically a queen.
Well, yeah, but to be a queen, you have to start out as a princess,
But she never started out as a princess.
Unless Mufasa was her dad, then it's just weird.
Nah, not on the Serengeti.
The Serengeti's like Vegas.
You can get it in the Serengeti.
It was anarchy.
Oh, did you hear that? He said you can get it in the Serengeti.
Well, I mean, they lick each other and stuff.
Get it.
Oh man.
I'm sorry,
it's
that's
ridiculous. I know.
Stretching.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so I think I've got a top 3.
Is Kiki a princess?
Of delivery
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't think she's a princess.
I don't think she's seen that either.
That's an annoying title.
Nausicaa's a princess.
Wait. What about Anastasia?
Oh, I was just gonna say that Anastasia.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic soundtrack. Best non-Disney soundtrack. I do like.
Oh, that's not true. We have already defined that as the Prince of Egypt.
No, I think Anastasia's soundtrack is far better than Prince of Egypt. That movie was.
I haven't seen Anastasia in a while. I'll have to see it again.
It's ridiculously
But you didn't.
good.
But what? Oh, the little fairy thing from Ferngully. She's a princess, right?
No idea.
I don't think so.
No idea.
I also don't care because it's Ferngully.
Ferngully was fantastic.
No, there's the baddie. Is that
Okay.
Robin Williams?
It was Robin
It
Williams.
was, yeah. The late
The
great.
song and everything.
Of course he did.
He's actually a really good singer.
I agree.
There we go.
All right, let's end on a positive note
we
here.
ended on, we all agree that Robin Williams was a good singer.
Yes.
Okay,
it's a good note.
Obviously, I like how we said we agreed and we said 2 different things.
Exactly.
I go, he was a good singer, or was a decent singer.
Decent. I'm like, he's a good singer.
Yeah, I think that's.
How about he's an okay singer?
Yeah, Robin Williams was an
good
okay
singer.
I thought we were going okay. Sure.
All right. So, where can everybody find our wonderful guest, Amanda, Charlie, Javier, Audison,
No,
Hargraves?
you don't want to do that. My Instagram is skincare and cats. That's it. Just skincare and fat cats.
She's always the first like on all my posts, so if you want to follow her, she's there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've tagged me, and we do hang out quite often.
Yeah, pretty much daily. Well, you can find me at Instagram and Twitter at Gavin Audison Art. Where can they find you, Josh?
You can find me at Josh L. Kane on both of them.
Excellent. And you can follow us at the Animation Station Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Before we go, guys, we have one more thing to do. It's time to announce the winner of our very first giveaway.
Almost forgot that we were going to do a giveaway.
Well, we did, and a lot of you guys interacted with us. Your challenge was to comment on the post for the last episode where we talked about Princess Mononoke and tell us what your favorite animated animal sidekick was. We got a lot of people responding to that, so that was exciting to hear from all of you and hear all the different perspectives.
Thanks everybody that commented and shared the status.
Yeah, absolutely. And also a couple
I guess
people
participated. That probably would have been the easier thing to say, but I didn't do it.
You complicate things, Josh.
Yeah, I know.
So, and then a few people got bonus entries because they listened to the episode and they followed our explicit instructions. So we had a pretty good turnout, I think, for our first giveaway. And without further ado, the winner of the Pop Funko Zero figure from Nightmare Before Christmas.
I was going to say Alice in Wonderland.
No, from Nightmare Before Christmas. And also a original trading card that I'm going to draw of your favorite animated animal sidekick. The winner is from Instagram at KermitKid7.
That's my boy right there.
Yeah, congratulations. And make sure that you direct message Animation Station Podcast and tell us what your address is, and we will mail you your prize package. Now, keep in mind that Josh and I are both moving this week, so it may take a little bit of time for us to pop it in the mail, but you will get your prize.
Yeah, don't expect it by Thursday.
Exactly. This is going to be a busy week for us. But congratulations. Woohoo!
Thank you for listening to the Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Animate Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. And join the conversation at secretsuperheroclub.com, where you can connect with our podcast friends, Cloud City Cast, Getting Into Comics, and Shaun of the Gathering.